Hi guys, I hope you're all having an awesome day. Today I want to do an in-depth review on the Louis Vuitton Palm Springs mini backpack. I want to share the pros, the cons, and wear and tear. I hope that you enjoy this video. If you do, make sure and give it a thumbs up. And without further ado, let's get started, shall we? All right, so first things first, this is the old version of the Louis Vuitton Palm Springs mini backpack. I will be talking about the new version later on in the video. And I also want to let you know that I do have my notes in front of me. So if you guys see me looking down from time to time, it's because I want to make sure I don't leave anything out because we have lots and lots to talk about. Okay, so let's begin with the measurements. This bag is approximately 6.75 inches in length, 8.6 inches in height, and 3.9 inches in depth. This bag weighs in at 12.2 ounces with the straps. I put the straps inside of the main compartment, so 12.2 ounces, and it currently retails for $1,990 here in the States. Okay, so now for the bag tour. Here we go. On the front side, you have one small zipped exterior pocket. This bag does feature the soft black leather throughout. It also has a little scarf loop down at the very bottom and one main zip compartment here. There is a side view. There is the back side. It doesn't have any pockets. It does have 4 little rings for the adjustable straps. There is another side view. On the bottom, you don't have any feet, but you can see that little loop a little bit better. And then on the very top, it also has a small handle that also features the soft black leather. So there we go. And then on the inside of the bag, you do have the black nylon lining, and you also have one little slip pocket back here. I don't know if you guys are going to be able to see it or not, and just one main open compartment. So there we go. And as I had mentioned, this bag does come with removable adjustable straps that are also in the soft black leather. And the adjustments on these straps are incredibly generous in my opinion. It does have 9 different settings. And on the shortest setting, it measures 36 inches. And on the longest setting, it measures 45.5 inches. So as I said before, very, very generous. So now let's move on to the pros. For me, the biggest pro is how versatile this handbag is. The fact that you can use it as a backpack, as the name states, or you can use it as a crossbody bag on your shoulder. You can end up hand carrying it. I feel like the possibilities are endless when it comes to this bag, and the fact that you can also incorporate it into various aspects of your life, I think is wonderful. Another big pro are the fact that you do have these 4 little rings on the back that gives you a little bit more play. So that way, with these adjustable straps, you can end up having a little bit more play if you just wanted to attach them to the top 2, if you wanted to crisscross them, or what have you, you have that option. It's not limiting whatsoever. Another thing that I really love about this is the fact that it is compact. Now it is small, but it packs a punch. You can definitely get away with carrying a little bit more, and I will also be talking about that a little bit later on in the video. I also like the fact that it does have that soft black leather because it makes it incredibly carefree, and that way you can use it in any type of weather, no problem. You can use it in the rain, you can use it in the snow. You know what I mean? If you're traveling with this bag, you don't have to worry about the type of weather that you're going to be landing in. So I think that is absolutely fantastic. Another pro is how incredibly comfortable this bag is. And even though it does have the skinnier all leather straps, they don't end up digging into your skin, whether you go to use it on your shoulder or as a crossbody bag. They are very, very soft, and they almost end up molding to your shoulder or to, or to your body, which I think is wonderful. So that way, if you do end up carrying a little bit more with you, you don't have to worry that you're lugging around this big old brick or anything like that. So I think that's awesome. In my experience, this bag has been incredibly durable for the amount of time that I've had it. I haven't had any problems with it necessarily falling apart or anything to that extent. However, there have been so many people that have had issues with this bag, and I just want to throw that out there just in case. Some people have had issues either with these tabs, they've started to peel, or with this little top handle, or I've even seen some people have cracking issues with this main zipper just because of how you end up opening up the bag. So again, I just want to throw that out there just in case. Now the last pro, some people might consider it to be a little bit silly, but I consider this bag to be somewhat of a trendy roller coaster. And I say that because this is a bag that comes in waves, So for example, in the 90s, the mini backpacks were crazy popular. They died down. down. Then they had another comeback, they died down. And then they introduced the Palm Springs Mini, and it was crazy, crazy popular. And quite honestly, I thought that it would last maybe 5 seconds. I wasn't too fond of it. However, that hasn't been the case because it's still been around for these last couple of years, and it is still quite popular. You know, so in my opinion, I feel like even if this trend ends up dying down, this is a bag that, as I mentioned previously, you can incorporate it into your lifestyle various ways. It's an awesome bag to use for travel. And even if it does end up dying down, I will still continue to rock it. You know what I mean? Because I feel like this is somewhat, you know, timeless. It's somewhat classic that always ends up making its comeback. So I don't know if that makes any sense or not, but it makes sense to me. All right, so let's move on to the cons. It is no surprise, I've talked about this in quite a few different videos, but the biggest con for me is the fact that I consider this bag to be ridiculously fussy because it does have that hidden zipper. Again, I have the older style, and this zipper, I mean, sometimes you end up having to hold the bag with both hands in order to get in and out of it. Sometimes when you go to close it up, let me show you. This is exactly what ends up happening. It's not the smoothest zipper, you know, so if you are in a hurry, if you are at the checkout and you want to retrieve your items quickly, or you want to, you know, put them back, this can be, quite honestly, very annoying. I mean, I hate to say it, but it is just, it can get a little bit, you know, to test your patience type of thing. However, Louis Vuitton has since revamped the zipper, and now they have an exposed zipper. And I think that is one of the best things that the fashion house could have done, because it makes it so much easier to get in and out of the bag. You don't have to sit there and hold it with both hands in order to close it up or open it up. And it's not like you're struggling with having to, you know, to get your items out. So the fact that they have the exposed zipper, I think was a wonderful, wonderful thing that they could have done. So again, if you do have the opportunity to get one with the exposed zipper, I say absolutely go for that one instead of this one, because this one, as I mentioned previously, it can be quite fussy. It can be frustrating at times. It can be annoying at times. And if you don't have a whole lot of patience, then this might not be the best style for you as far as the zipper goes. Another con that I wanted to point out, it could very well be me, but I find that this front pocket here is completely useless. Now, just hear me out. Just hear me out. There have been times that I have used it either for my key fob, sometimes I've used it for my lip products, and it has worked at the time. However, because it does have that hidden zipper there, I find it to be very fussy, if not fussier than the main compartment there. So again, it could just be me, but sometimes I just really can't be bothered to put anything inside because I just don't want to deal with the struggle, and I just rather put all of my items inside of the main compartment. So, I mean, you know, maybe I'm the only one that feels that way, but I'm just putting it out there because I just feel like it's very cute. It's just not very practical for me or for my lifestyle. Now, the last con that I want to talk about, it's maybe not necessarily a con, but it's more so something I want to throw out there just in case. But it's actually with this, it's with this main compartment. And this main compartment is what I consider to be a deep pocket style. Just because if you end up carrying a little bit more with you, it can get a little bit crazy in retrieving your items, just because it can get a little bit jumbled in there. But what I have noticed is that if you do end up filling up this bag to the brim, and if you end up putting your items in, you know, one by one, the item that you put in first, sometimes it can be a little bit inconvenient to try to retrieve those items without having to move around or completely remove the ones that you have in the front. You know, so unless you end up opening up this top flap like this, so that way you can see your items at a glance, then I think you'll be okay. But otherwise, it can be a little bit inconvenient. I know I have experienced that from time to time. So sometimes what I end up doing when I end up loading up this bag, I like to put in the larger items or the taller items in first, just because I think it makes it a little bit easier. So for example, sometimes I end up putting my Chanel Mini O pouches in the very back, or my mini pochette, and then from biggest to smallest. That way, again, it makes it a little bit easier. Or other times I end up putting the items that I know I have to, that I interact with a lot more on the daily, such as my wallet, my 6-ring key holder, and my clay. Then those items I will put in front, so that way it makes it that much easier to retrieve them. So again, it's not necessarily a con, but it can be a little bit inconvenient if you are in a hurry, if you're at the checkout and you want to be able to grab your items. Sometimes it can get a little bit crazy in here if you have a little too much with you. And we all know I have a tendency to want to carry everything with me. So as I said previously, I have experienced that from time to time. Now, as far as wear and tear goes, this bag was gifted to me in November of 2017, so I have had it for a little while, and it's a bag that I constantly gravitate towards. It's a bag that always makes my most used bags year after year. I mean, I have put this bag to the test. I have put this bag through the ringer, and when it comes to the wear and tear, I feel that it's held up a lot better than I had anticipated. Now, one thing to note is that even though this is a backpack, and in the beginning I did end up using it as a backpack, although now I do end up preferring to use it either as a crossbody bag or on my shoulder. And because of that, I do end up using these 2 rings the most. And I did notice that I've started to see some of the varnish. I don't know if you guys are going to be able to see it or not. Some of the varnish is starting to become a little bit more worn than these 2. Again, just because I end up putting a lot more stress on these 2 rings because I end up carrying it that way. So I just wanted to point that out. So besides these 2 rings where I end up attaching the straps to, there really are no other areas of concern for me. I haven't had any issues with cracked canvas, with any type of pop stitches. I haven't had any problems with any type of peeling on the black leather, whether it's the handle or these little tabs or even this tab here. There have been times that I do end up using this bag as a hand carry bag and still nothing. I don't recommend using it as a hand carry bag because I feel it's a little bit uncomfortable. It's not the most comfortable thing to do, but still I have done it from time to time, but still no problems with these tabs becoming loose either. I do have some pilling along the zipper. It's not too bad, but I just wanted to point it out just in case. So we have some right there. Now, one thing I want to touch base on, and that's the zipper, because when I first got this bag, I felt like it's definitely softened up over time. It's a little bit easier to close it, but still sometimes, as I mentioned previously, sometimes it's a little bit fussy to close it because it can get stuck every other inch and you're sitting there and it almost like skips. But when I first got it, it was a lot more intense. And if that does end up happening to yours, you can end up taking it to Louis Vuitton. You could tell them about the zipper and then they end up putting wax, or you can put the wax on yourself, and it makes it a little bit easier to get in and out of it. But still, if you do have one with the hidden zipper, I feel like even if you end up putting any type of wax on there or anything else, it will still end up getting cut just because of the style that it has. So again, I just wanted to throw that out there. But yeah, so no issues whatsoever. So there is the back side. Nothing. And even when it comes to these straps, these guys haven't peeled either. They do have wrinkling, which is totally normal just because, again, I use this bag to death, but no issues with the adjustments. They haven't peeled. The hardware hasn't tarnished or anything like that. I just feel that it has really held up insanely well for as long as I've had it and for as much as I use this bag. I mean, I just put it to the test constantly. I constantly end up using it, and for it to look the way that it does after all these years definitely makes me very, very happy. All right, so let me insert some mod shots, and I'm gonna insert some mod shots that I have on this bag on Instagram, because sometimes I do like to use the strap for the multi-pochette just to have a little bit of a pop of color. Other times I do end up using the strap from the pochette Matisse if I want a little bit more length, or if I just want it to be completely monogram, sometimes I'll do that. So I just want to give you guys a few different options of how I end up incorporating this bag into my lifestyle. And for reference, I am 5'5". So overall, I absolutely love this bag. It's carefree, it's compact, it's comfortable. It makes for an awesome travel bag. It's easy to incorporate into your lifestyle. And even though it definitely does have its cons, I feel like the pros outweigh the cons. You know, so if you are thinking about getting this bag, I highly recommend it. I think it is absolutely fabulous. And if you want to go for a little bit of a spin, I think that the reverse Palm Springs Mini is also beautiful just because of that color that it has. You know, so it's funny because, as I said before, I wasn't the biggest fan of this bag when it first came out. I was like, you know what, it's not for me, it's not for me, it's way too small. I definitely ended up judging a book by its cover when it came to this bag, and I'm happy to say that I was so wrong because it is such a great addition to my collection. It is such a great bag. I feel like it offers so incredibly much. You know, so again, if you are thinking about going for it, I highly recommend going for the one that has the exposed zipper over this one, just because of what I talked about previously. It might drive you a little bit nuts, but even with that said, I've had people ask me, okay, Minnie, are you going to trade this in for a new one? You know, I don't see that happening anytime in the future, unless it ends up falling apart, you know, within a couple of months. Then I will take it into Louis Vuitton. I definitely have I have an attachment to this bag just because it was a gift. But if it does end up falling apart, I will end up you know, going down to the boutique and see what ends up happening. But this zipper, even though it just, there are some times when I just want to just fling the backpack across the room. I know that might sound so bad, but I'm just like, it depends really. If I'm having like a bad day, I just want to fling it across the room. But even with that said, I am still madly in love with it, and I can definitely see all of those pros, and I think that it just, again, offers so much. So I don't know, but I think it is fabulous. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. I hope I was able to give you a little bit more information, especially if you're looking to add this back to your collection. If you enjoyed this video, make sure and give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already and you would like to, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, and I'll see you guys later. And as always, make it a fabulous day or not, the choice is yours. Have a great day.